Hi Jen and Flutenetters. I noticed your question, Jen, on adding reverb in Audacity to some of your flute recordings. Audacity comes with a very basic reverb editor called Gverb. You can still get some reasonable results with it, but it has to be used in a very peculiar way. I'll explain to you now using this basic audio track that I've recorded. I've recorded myself playing a Bach Adagio, the start of the E minor. Dwelling on that beautiful... Oh, no, that. Just kidding. Okay, the beauty was just overcoming me there for a second. Yes. Now, creating that beautiful reverb to cover over for my flaws. First thing you need to do in Audacity to use Gverb is to add another stereo track. So in the tracks, you click on tracks, you add new. In this case I've done a stereo file, so add another stereo track to match. Now what I want you to do is to make a carbon copy of this first track. So to select the entire first track, you click in this section here, and then you go Control C to copy. That's Control C. And then into the audio track below, the blank template. And we click on that now, and we go Control V. And that pastes. Typical Windows commands. Alright, so now we have two instances of the exact same thing. There we go. And they're both playing together. Wonderful. Now, what I want you to do is to select this bottom track. So there's a top, here's the bottom. We've selected that. Now you go up into Effect. Now, you won't have all of these effects. I've got a lot of other programs on my computer, but you come down and you'll find one called Gverb. Select Gverb. Now, this is a reverb, but it's a rather metallic sounding reverb, but you can get away with making a reasonable reverb sound with this. Now, if that was what the set size was already, you just press Preview, and it sounds like you're playing in some sort of metallic sewer. Anyway, you have to make that room size, I think, a lot smaller for a start, because it's not natural for a flute to be playing in a sewer, although you are using plumbing. Oh well. And so I've made it about 28. Preview it again. And it still sounds horrible, yes. Anyway, press OK now that we've done that. You can fiddle with these settings to your little life's content. But now I've made the entire second audio track there, has the reverb on it. And if we play that solo, that'll be what you hear now. Yeah, over the top, ridiculous. Now, what I want you to do is see there's a minus and plus buttons here. If you grab this gain and bring it down about halfway, and we want both of these on now, so none are muted, both are on. Now, if we press play now, you'll notice there is still some reverb there. But you'll hear a dry signal as well. I'll mute the dry, and all you have is the reverb. Add the dry, and you have the reverb behind. Get rid of the reverb, I'll mute it, and you only have the dry signal. And then you can play with it some more. I'd probably kill that even more, so there's only a fraction of the original wet signal. Now you test it against the dry sound versus the wet sound. So now take the mute off. go. Alright. That's a quick way of doing a G-verb within Audacity. One thing I didn't mention at the start is before you make any recording, it's a really good idea to add some silence to the end of your track. That will allow space for the reverb to go into, so it just doesn't shut off dead at the end of your song. So you play your song la, but there's some little reverb going at the end. I think that's it. I'll have a listen back and see what this sounds like. Alright, bye bye.